Hi everyone, welcome back to the Spooky Movie Club. It is the second week of Summer Horror Month, and we watched The Burning. Was it just another Friday the 13th ripoff film? Let's discuss. All right, as always, before we get started with my three things, we have to read the back of the box to kind of set up the mood. If you find that boring, no worries, you can skip ahead because I'll leave timestamps below. The Burning. It's a summer camp movie, 1981. This is a decently long description. The guy from Fast Times at Ridgemont High is in it. This is Albert. Okay. Gather around the campfire to die. Okay. A group of summer camp pranksters get the scare of their lives when they target the camp's creepy caretaker, and he takes bloody revenge. Gruesome, says the Hollywood Reporter, and stomach churning, says the box office? That's strange. This terrifying tale is a brilliant slasher flick and gory as hell. After a cruel joke goes awry, severely burning him and subjecting him to 5 years of intense, unsuccessful skin graft treatments, Cropsy is back at camp and ready to wreak havoc on those who scared him. Oh, scarred him. Scared and scarred. Works both ways. With his hedge clippers in hand, he terrorizes the camp and systematically mutilates each victim. Can a few courageous campers save themselves and destroy this demented madman before he kills them all? This poor man was like burned. Okay. Starring Brian Matthews of Crime Stopper, Leah Ayres of Bloodsport, Brian Backer, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Larry Joshua, Dances with Wolves. He was Glazer. We'll talk about Glazer later. And featuring early film appearances by Fisher Stevens, Short Circuit, Jason Alexander, Seinfeld, and Holly Hunter, Raising Arizona. The Burning is a grim and nasty movie that gets under your skin. There's audio comment. We didn't do any of the special features. We just watched the Blu-ray. Yeah, I mean, that was a great description of The Burning. It basically gives everything away. So you're basically just watching it for, I guess, the gore, because the back of the box just tells you everything. But yeah, let's get into my three things. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is the main reason I wanted to watch this film, not just because it was a summer camp and it's summer horror, but Tom Savini did the effects, special effects makeup. It was one of his first films. He did like Friday the 13th, the original, and then he turned down the second one to do this. And you can definitely see influences from the original Friday the 13th in his kills in this one, like on the raft. The guy from Short Circuit gets, I think, impaled through the throat, and you could see that technique of the like fake neck and the head poking out. And you can see how he was progressing because Cropsy, I love the name Cropsy, how he looks at the end, how he has like a melted face. You can kind of see how Tom used that when he did the final chapter, or like when he gets Cropsy gets axed in the head. I love kind of watching. I guess it's just really interesting to notice who does what behind the scenes, because it's been really nice kind of watching Tom Savini's early work and later work, and you kind of see how he progresses and grows as an artist and what techniques he takes from film to film. And that was probably my favorite thing about it, was just we love Tom Savini. We're a Pennsylvania girl. We love Tom Savini. But he did a great job. I love Cropsy's face, how he looked. The kills were really great. The blood gushing. It gets really bloody and gory. And yeah, that was definitely my favorite part. I liked seeing this movie and then comparing it to like Final Chapter or Day of the Dead and seeing the progression of Tom Savini as an artist. I thought that was very cool. The second thing I want to talk about is what we said in the little intro. Is this a Friday the 13th ripoff film? And absolutely it is a Friday the 13th ripoff film. There's no getting around it. It is campfire. It is camp counselors. It is campers, and Cropsy comes back to seek revenge on these kids. Although I think Cropsy, I guess maybe the counselors weren't watching Jason and he drowned, but like Cropsy has a reason to come back. put a prank on him and they got set on fire and they were really rude to Cropsy. So he kind of has more of a reason to come back, but it's the same presence. Evil man comes back to kill camp counselors and campers because of what they did to him in the past. So it was just very generic. You could totally see they were just trying to ride the coattails. Nothing special about it. I do have to say I liked, not, I guess I don't remember in Friday the 13th if they do POV shots a lot, but in this film in the beginning it's like almost a lot of killer POV, and it reminded me a lot of like Black Christmas. I really like those. And one of my favorite POV shots they did in this is when Glazer gets killed, and you're the POV of Cropsy, and you have like your little gardening shears, and he's like running towards the tree, and you're like looking at Glazer as he's like being pushed back and pinned against the tree. I thought that was really cool. But other than that, it was just lackluster. You could totally see what's coming. And also, it's a slasher film, but we don't really get a lot of kills until like an hour or so in. There's like the lady gets killed. I don't know why Cropsy killed that lady, but he kills that lady, and then you get nothing. Just a bunch of like fake scares. Oh, guess it was that wasn't Cropsy. That was just Peeping Tom Albert, and that wasn't Cropsy. You don't get really, kills until Karen gets it. When after they do their canoe trip. And that's like an hour or so into the film, which was very slow paced. So I didn't really enjoy that. So if I'm comparing this to Friday the 13th, obviously this is very lackluster, and Friday the 13th reigns supreme in the Campfire horror slasher series. And the third thing I want to talk about, you're probably wondering, like, Jessica, why don't you save the whole Friday the 13th ripoff thing for the end? That's because this last bit is probably my biggest complaint about the film. And now I joked, you find out that Harvey Weinstein was the creator, writer, I think, of this story. And I was like, oh, is this going to be like a creepy sex pervert movie? I said that as a joke. And then you watch it and you're like, this is uncomfortable. It starts off with Albert being it starts off with Eddie being really gross to Karen and like objectifying her and slapping her butt, and then Albert's a creepy peeping Tom on Sally in the shower. I was just trying to scare her. I'm like, you're a creep. And then Eddie, who is a psychopath. So Karen is telling the camp counselor, like, oh, he scares me. Eddie scares me. And she's not like, why does he scare you? Do we have to kick him out of the camp? She's like, well, just yes or no, Karen. Yes or no, Karen. Just make a decision. And so Eddie, coerces Karen into going skinny dipping in the lake. And she's like, no, Eddie, I don't want to have sex with you in this lake. And he's like, then get the fuck out of here, Karen. Like, just really aggressive, very uncomfortable. And ultimately, Karen gets it because Eddie was being a dickbag. And then you have Glazer, who's very aggressive, very forceful onto Sally. Just like won't take no for an answer. And Glazer is like also kind of hilarious unintentionally because he has this like weird New York accent. It just sounds super funny, but like after he like basically, they have sex in the sleeping bag, and she goes, "Oh, is that it?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm mad, Karen. I don't know what happened, baby. It'll be better next time, I promise." It's like, oh my God, it was so uncomfortably creepy, especially with Eddie. Like, they were really aggressive. It was just these characters, these men were like super aggressive, and not in like a usually trope way where it's like they're sweet boys and they're just, oh, come on, let's just fool around. No, these men were aggressive. It was getting super rapey. And it was like, these are the characters you write in when you're trying to make a point in like a teen drama show. Like, I was just watching One Tree Hill, don't judge me. And there's this scene where they go to a party and they get drunk, and you have the stereotypical like asshole who like roofies a girl's drink. Like, they're trying to make a point with the character. And this is how these characters were written, but it was very odd in the context of this film and just super disturbing. And it was probably my biggest gripe. It was terrible. All right, so my final thoughts on The Burning are, I mean, it is what it is. It's a Friday the 13th ripoff film. There's nothing special about it, nothing memorable except for how weird the characters were and how the story progresses is even very strange. It's just not something I would recommend like if I'm going to recommend a campfire movie, campfire summer camp horror movie, I'm not recommending this. So with all that said, I'm going to give The Burning 2 Rump Jasons out of 5 because I've given, what have I given ones to? The Conjuring and Demon House, which are, I would never watch those again. I may watch this again only because it was kind of so dumb that I was like enjoying myself making fun of it and watching it and laughing at stupid how some of the characters were. That's the only reason why I'm giving it 2 out of 5. All right, that wraps up week 2 of Summer Horror Month. We are on to week 3, and this is a newer movie that came out in 2018. I have seen it once before, and I'm excited to revisit it because I found it very interesting when we watched it the first time, and that is Summer of '84, which we don't have a copy of it, but it's streaming on Shudder, our favorite streaming service. We love Shudder. We watched it maybe a year or so ago, not right when it came out, but maybe like a year or so after, and it really intrigued me. It surprised me, and I'm excited to go back and revisit it to kind of see if I can piece certain things together a little bit better. I don't want to spoil anything. I think this is one, it's a newer one, and it's shockingly probably a newer horror film that I actually really enjoyed. So I definitely recommend watching it this week on Shudder again. Shudder, not sponsored, but maybe one day. Shudder, hit me up, whatever. But yeah, I'm excited to watch Summer of '84 with all of you this week. All right, that wraps it up for this week's Spooky Movie Club. I hope you enjoyed watching The Burning, and I hope you're excited to watch a newer horror film, Summer of '84, with us this week. We are doing no live discussion because it's the summertime, like I said, and we're going on a little vacay, but we will do the watch party on Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll kind of keep everybody updated to see kind of how the day goes, if it's going to be earlier, if it's going to be later, but just make sure you follow along and see if there's any schedule changes. I'm going to leave those links below. But if you can't make the viewing party, no worries, because I'll be back here on Sunday with the review. Bye.